Welcome back to the Unrevealed Realities, the channel where the unseen is revealed, where shadows learn to speak, and where the world's hidden truths rise from silence into storytelling. And welcome once again to Secret Chapters, where every tale is a door into a life you think you understand until it opens and shows you what you never expected. Tonight, we unfold a story carved into darkness, a miracle born from midnight, a journey from shattered metal to a heartbeat that refused to stop. This is the true, cinematic, breath-stopping chapter titled, Miracle After Midnight, Surviving a Deadly Accident Against All Odds. It begins at 12:41 a.m., on a night so quiet it felt almost fragile. The city had fallen into that familiar post-midnight hush, the kind where every sound becomes louder, every echo deeper, every shadow longer. The sky hung low, heavy with clouds that swallowed the moonlight. Empty roads stretched like abandoned rails, and the soft glow of street lamps flickered as if they were tired of holding back the darkness. But somewhere within that gloom, destiny had already begun moving its silent pieces. Aries, 26 years old, was riding his motorcycle home after a double shift at work. His body was exhausted, but his mind was awake, replaying scenes of his day and imagining the comfort of home waiting just a few miles away. His mother always left a small light on in the living room, a soft yellow haze he could see from the gate, a sign that she was awake, watching, praying, waiting. He didn't know that tonight she would sit by that same light, trembling, whispering prayers she did not know would become screams for mercy. The highway ahead was clear. Too clear, a stretch of stillness that made the world feel paused. Aries adjusted his backpack, tightened his grip on the handlebars, and slowed the bike slightly, breathing in the cold air. He felt the familiar sting of fatigue behind his eyes, but he pushed it away. Just a few more minutes, he told himself. Just a few more turns. Then home. But fate never warns you when it changes its mind. As he approached the old flyover bridge, a flash of blinding white light shot toward him from the opposite side, a truck, massive, swerving, roaring down the empty lane like a beast unchained. Later reports would say the driver had been awake for 30 hours straight, delivering cargo across cities, pushing through exhaustion until reality blurred. Some said he had nodded off. Some blamed faulty brakes. Some said destiny had simply tightened its fist. But when the truck's headlights tore across the asphalt, there was no time left for theories. Instinct made Aries hit the brakes. Fear made his heart leap to his throat. But physics is cruel. Speed, distance, impact, they do not bargain. The collision was instant, violent, bone-shattering. Aries's body launched into the air like a ragdoll caught in a storm. He felt his helmet slam against the asphalt, heard the crack of something, maybe his ribs, maybe the bike frame, maybe fate itself. He rolled across the road, his body scraping against the harsh surface as sparks flew from the metal parts skidding alongside him. For a moment, everything turned silent. A moment with no sound, no breath, no time, as if the world itself froze to decide whether this was a life ending or a miracle beginning. When Aries opened his eyes, he couldn't focus. The world swayed like a ship in a storm. His arms felt numb, his legs refused to move. His breaths came in sharp, broken gasps, each one harder than the last. He tasted blood leaking from his split lip. He saw the sky spinning above him, the streetlights warping, the ground cold under his cheek. Pain surged through him like fire. He tried to speak, but only a whimper escaped. It would have taken only minutes for blood loss to do what impact had not finished. Minutes for darkness to close around him for good. Minutes for the city to move on, unaware that a young life was slipping away on an empty highway. But destiny had sent him an angel disguised as a stranger. A man named Zion, heading home from a late cleaning shift, saw a glint of twisted metal on the road. Something inside him told him to stop. My heart squeezed, he later said in an interview, as if someone whispered in my ear, stop now. He parked his bicycle, ran toward the wreckage, and froze when he saw Aries sprawled on the cold asphalt, motionless except for the faint rise of his chest. Hey, can you hear me? Zion's voice cracked as he knelt beside him. Aries's eyelids fluttered. He tried to lift his hand but failed. Blood soaked the ground beneath him. His right leg was at an unnatural angle. His breathing was thin, fragile, the kind of breathing that could fade with one wrong minute. Zion's hands shook violently as he dialed emergency services. He kept his palm on Aries's chest, feeling the weak thump of a heart refusing to stop. Stay with me, brother, he whispered again and again, as if his voice alone could stitch the boy's soul to his body. He placed his jacket under Aries's head, pressed his hand against the bleeding wound on his arm, and screamed at the empty road, someone help. Anyone. No one came. Midnight doesn't send crowds. But the ambulance did. The wail of sirens cut through the stillness like a blade. Paramedics rushed out, took one look at the scene, and sprang into motion. They checked his pulse, weak. His breathing, irregular. His blood pressure, dropping fast. They strapped him to a stretcher, securing neck braces, connecting oxygen, placing pressure on wounds. The ambulance doors slammed shut. The journey to the hospital began. Inside, one of the paramedics leaned close to Ari's ear and whispered, "You're young. Fight, don't let go." Later she said she didn't know why she spoke those words, they just came. It was instinct, hope, something deeper. At the hospital, chaos erupted. Emergency room doors burst open. Nurses shouted medical codes. Doctors examined injuries faster than the eye could follow. Machines beeped wildly. Gloves snapped. Scissors cut through clothes. Bright surgical lights pierced the darkness hanging over his body. "We might lose him," one doctor murmured. "He's not stabilizing," another responded. "He lost too much blood. Prep the OR." His mother arrived 20 minutes later, barefoot, breathless, shaking uncontrollably. When she saw her son covered in blood, unconscious, a mask over his face, tubes running from his veins, a sound escaped her that no mother should ever have to make. Her legs buckled. A nurse caught her. She clutched the nurse's arm and asked, "Is he alive? Please tell me he is alive." "He is," the nurse whispered gently. "But we're fighting for him." The surgery lasted 6 hours. 6 hours where bone fragments were reset, internal bleeding was controlled, a punctured lung was repaired, and fractures were stabilized. 6 hours where machines kept him breathing, and doctors fought the battle his body couldn't fight alone. When he was finally moved to the ICU, the chief surgeon walked to his mother, sat beside her, removed his mask, and said words she would remember forever. "We don't know how he survived that impact. But he did. He's not out of danger yet, but he's alive. And that itself is a miracle. But miracles are not instant. They are journeys." The next 48 hours were the most critical. Aris drifted in and out of consciousness, his body bruised like a map of survival, his breaths shallow but persistent. Machines hummed beside him, monitors, ventilators, IV lines. A symphony of fragile life. Every few hours, nurses checked his vitals. His mother held his hand, whispering prayers into the silence. Doctors prepared her gently for possible complications, organ failure, infection, neurological damage. But she refused to let fear consume her. She sat by his bedside, stroking his hair, telling him stories from his childhood, reminding him of promises he once made, to take her to the beach, to buy her a house, to live a good, long life. And somewhere deep inside the labyrinth of pain, her voice found him. On the morning of the third day, just as dawn painted the sky with pale gold, Aris moved his fingers. Barely, softly, slowly, but he moved. A nurse saw it and gasped. She rushed to his mother, who burst into tears so suddenly and so violently that her sobs filled the room like a flood breaking through a dam. Doctors rushed in. They examined him. They monitored his brain response. They checked his reflexes. And then the miracle deepened. Aris opened his eyes. Just a sliver, just a crack, but enough to let the world in again. For days, he spoke little. His voice was rough, thin, fragile like glass. He asked only one question at first: "Am I alive?" His mother nodded through tears. "Yes, you are alive because God still needs you here." Over the next weeks, Aris began to relearn his own body, how to move his fingers, how to bend his knee, how to speak without wincing. Physical therapy sessions were agonizing. His right leg took months to bear weight again. His ribs hurt with every breath. His arm remained in a cast. But every day he pushed forward, sweating, groaning, fighting, driven by the memory of the night that almost stole him. And the stranger, Zion, visited him often. They became brothers not by blood, but by a moment in fate where one life held onto another. Months passed. Aris healed, slowly, painfully, beautifully. When he finally walked out of the hospital, uneven steps but full of life, doctors lined the hallway. Nurses clapped. His therapist smiled proudly, and his mother held him like she had been waiting her entire life for this embrace. Later interviews captured his words: "When you are inches from death, you see life differently. You understand every breath is borrowed. Every sunrise is a gift. I wasn't supposed to survive. But I did, and I won't waste this second chance." Tonight, this story becomes a chapter not just told, but remembered, a reminder that even in the darkest hour, when metal crushes hope and silence feels endless, miracles still happen. Lives still fight, hearts still refuse to stop. And when midnight breaks, sometimes, A new life begins. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe, share, and support the unrevealed realities, where hidden truths, untold journeys, and secret chapters continue to unfold.